Test. Okay, I've got some audio going. Hopefully you can hear just me. Excellent. Hi, everybody.
Oh,
Okay, I need some tech help here. Um, I have everybody muted except one person on Jitsi. Well, I apologize for this. I got to boot somebody because I can't seem to figure out how to mute this individual. Um, Hold on. Oh, here we go. Maybe there. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, everybody find your seats. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Hey everyone. Is this thing on now? Can you all see me? Okay. Do we have to F9 this to be able to see me? Okay. It was there, I agree, but now it's gone. I see the VirtualCon keynote marquee there. I don't know if someone is doing quick deco here. Okay, so we got a F5. Okay, well, I don't need to see myself because I've got it on the other monitor here. So um, anybody who wants to F5 so they can see the video feed behind me, that's great. And if you don't, that's fine too. My avatar is better looking anyway and better dressed. Hi, everybody. And oh, there we go. Well, dang. I definitely don't want to look. Welcome to VirtualCon 2022. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's great to see a packed house, and I'm really excited, of course, that we're putting on, our sixth annual VirtualCon. So thanks, everybody. Looks like everything's working. So I'm just going to jump right in. I know that a lot of you have questions about all of the new development that we're doing and what that means for Otherverse and the existing platform, what all this NFT stuff is, what Otherverse.io is. And I'm going to want to get to all of that. Sorry, if you send me friend requests while I'm talking, I may not be able to accept them. It's not because I don't want to accept your friend request. You can resend it, but I'm going to be a little bit distracted. So no offense intended here. So I'm going to get to all of that later in the talk, but I want to start out just with a little bit of a more fun, interesting discussion about other questions that I get all the time these days. And those pertain generally to what is a metaverse, and what is this whole thing about? I hear the term metaverse, I hear the terms NFTs and virtual goods, and there's a lot of confusion. Of course, we started on this project long time ago. My business partner Ray and I, in about 2003, really started to explore what the third iteration of the internet was going to be like. And I got this idea, sort of my origin story for this. Of course, I had very successful internet operations. I had offices in Silicon Valley, and I had offices in LA, and I had offices in South Lake Tahoe area where I was living. And it was keeping me really, really busy. Everything internet was just exploding. And I had all of these business divisions, and I'd come home from work at night, and um, I got into some of the very earliest MMORPGs, these massively multi-user online role-playing games. And the first one, the first one that I really got into was a game called Asheron's Call. And I had come home from work and go and slay some monsters and go on adventures in Asheron's Call. And there was a one sort of pivotal event where it had very rudimentary questing system. And I didn't usually go on quests, but this one night I got invited to go on a quest with a group of guys, and we took off to go slay some monsters and rescue some princesses. I don't know. And we're partway through the quest, actively going at this, when a new person shows up and asks if she can join the quest. And it was a female avatar. And we were all male avatars on this quest. And so, of course, come on, join the party. But something fundamentally sort of groundbreaking happened after that, which is everybody stopped questing. I was married at the time, I was looking just to decompress. But all of a sudden, the conversations went from, what are you armed with, and where, who's going to go do this adventure, to where do you go to school? Oh, what are you studying? Oh, that's interesting. It must be a fascinating field. What are you going to want to do with that when you're older? And it just became absolutely a flirt fest. And it's not that it really took that to sort of kick my brain into gear, but it absolutely cemented this idea for me that, geez, there's a place for games in this massively multi-user space, but there's also a real value to massively multi-user online realities. And that's the term that I came up with for that, where I started thinking, we could be in town and there could be a Starbucks cafe in town. And that could be a meeting place. It would be spectacular branding. What a missed opportunity for branding in this game. What a missed opportunity for, Match.com was successful at that time. They were a big dating operation online, and it was so mechanical, where you're posting pictures and you're communicating asynchronously. And here, we have a whole group of people, and it's so much more natural to be talking and pointing out things in the environment, and you're there with friends, and you can all joke, where it's way less pressure. And of course, this sort of sparked this whole development revolution where, answering the question, what's the next level of the internet? Well, the next level of the internet after Web 2 is, of course, going to be metaverse. But what we called metaverse what we were calling it back then, what I still think we call it today, except when I'm talking externally, is virtual world web. And this is what metaverse, to me, what it really is. It's a next layer of the internet. So, you've got the flat web that you surf with a web browser. It's great for data entry. It's great for asynchronous kinds of communication, where you post something, somebody comments later, you comment on the comment later, you like things. But it's not at all conducive to having large scale events like this conference. It's not at all conducive to group activities where you really want to engage. I mean, even something like what we're doing here, where you can see me on screen, or Zoom, it's a very artificial kind of forced, you schedule a meeting and a meeting time, and it's not at all natural. Like, you run into people and you have these discussions, and you can go grab somebody, you can go grab your friend, let me introduce you here. And so, from a dating application, Ray and I really started spinning on what we could build out. And over the next couple of years, we developed, of course, our flagship Red Light Center and Otherverse, and expanded over time, franchised out in 17 countries, if you can imagine that. And there's millions of virtual worlds that have been attached, that you all in the community and many who came before you or with you have built and popularized at one time or another, Zabbies. So to me, when I'm having discussions with people about metaverse, and they start talking about a game like Axie Infinity, or they talk about, you know, a play to earn game, and they call it a metaverse, or, you know, I'm buying land in the metaverse. I think we all know, if we have any experience with the Otherverse platform, buying land in the metaverse is kind of a meaningless. It's almost a deceptive kind of phraseology. You're buying land, virtual land, in a very specific application. If that's, you know, the sandbox or Decentraland, you're buying land in that application. It doesn't have crossover. It's not like, you know, anybody can go to your website because you've got a website. It's more like people could go to your website if they download your browser and use that browser to go to that website. And what we're trying to do in the next version here, what we're trying to do in our next version here of the software, and I'll get to this in a lot more detail, but is create something that is all interoperable, all compatible, just like what we have here in Otherverse. If you create space in Otherverse, anybody has the ability potentially to go there. You can rent doors. It's all integrated, interoperable. You set certain rules, you set certain features, and you have the ability to cultivate, deco that space and turn it into something really amazing. To me, that is ultimately metaverse. And you know, I'm going to be on a mission to sort of try to clarify this for people. And you know, I see comments about Mark Zuckerberg and, you know, the Facebook or Meta Horizon Worlds. There is a fear that I have. I mean, it's a long-standing fear of really what this new generation of internet, what the virtual world web really portends. We've done a great thing community-wise with Otherverse. We've got a fantastic community, and all of you, you know, I often talk these days, and I brag about our community. I brag about everybody here, and that I just love that the greeting is hugs. When you walk into a room, it's all hugs. I don't think you get that on Facebook. I don't think you get that on Twitter. The greeting on Twitter is, you know, you fucking closed-minded, you know, coming from a different political perspective or whatever. The value that metaverse brings, the potential value that a metaverse brings, fully interoperable. You can imagine what we're building with the Aeon browser, which is going to be of course, a metaverse browser that's going to function very much like what we use as our clients in Otherverse. And what we're building with the Aeon browser, allowing users to surf and have a VR headset, and you can participate in VR. You can have a screen and participate with your PC or your Mac. There will be features that you're going to want to use your phone. You know, when you go into a catalog or doing shopping or looking for property, or, you know, finding a deco. So it's all of these screens, and it's all of these different ways that you can experience this metaverse. And, you know, I've always had a fear of technology, that the better and more compelling technology is, the more time people are going to spend with it, and the less time people are going to spend engaged with other real people and doing real things in life. And the more time you spend isolated, just looking at screens, the more, up until now at least, the more isolating that can be. And when people are isolated, they become incels. They, you know, start to get angry. They start to get into these echo chambers. They start to experience things where that anger and rage builds up, and they express it on social media, which makes other people angry and enraged. And there's this whole cascading effect. Metaverse is going to be something that we're going to spend more and more of our time engaged with. The how do I say this? The value that it brings to various business segments, like just thinking about convention. we have come here from all over the world to sit together, to walk the trade show floors, to engage in business and engage in the after parties. The technology that we're building for the next generation of conventions is going to be much more compelling. You're going to be able to do full-on displays. You're going to be able to do things like record your session. So, you're not wondering, who was this person I forget? You say, well, let me click on this, and there's a recording of my engagement with this person. And oh, right, it was this booth. They were talking about this. They did answer this question, and that could be archived. Just things like, let's say, now getting off of convention, just shopping, where real clothing brands coming into the metaverse here. And these clothing brands will have stores available. You go shopping for clothing, you get a digital version of your clothes, and the real version gets shipped to you. Well, now you've got a closet in world of your real world outfits and clothing. Imagine being able to put together, without actually going through your closet, being able to go online and see all of the clothes that you have in your real closet, assemble your outfit, and that gets recorded, so you don't have to think, what did I wear? Last time I was with this group, or when I went out, or last year at this event, because it's stored. You can mix and match when you're shopping. You can say, do these shoes match this dress? Well, I know because I can pull up the dress from my stored closet. These kind of use cases become so compelling when you're talking about a photorealistic avatar of yourself, and you can see how outfits look. You can see how it works with the rest of your wardrobe, and it's this way for everything. A digital version of your home, so you can see what TV size can go in what location, and what this couch would look like, or if you painted your walls. All of these use cases, we're going to be spending more and more time in the metaverse. And what concerns me the most is who is going to be in control of that? Who's going to be in control of your data? Who's going to be in control of just making sure that, most importantly, that the community is an uplifting and positive community that's there to support people and not drag people down? When I look at Facebook Horizon and I see, the way that they protect their community now is by not giving them any, just giving them a torso, nothing under the waist, and no ability to come within 2 or 3 feet. Is it 6 feet? Not being able to come within several feet of other avatars. You can't hug. You literally can't hug, right? We need, as humans, the ability to have other human contact. And if we're going to be spending more time in a metaverse, then it's even more important that we have virtual ability to contact and connect. We need to be able to look other people in the eye and see that they're real people. We need to be able to make friends from all over the world and realize they're not just friends, they're my adoptive family. And I don't want harm to come to them, and they're there to support me, and I'm there to support them. And so, when I look at what the future is that I'm looking to build here, you are a huge part of it. This community that we've cultivated over all of these years, and that you've helped us learn what it is that people really want to do in a virtual world, and how people really interact in a virtual world, and what it takes to have a strong, positive community. That's what I'm looking to move over. No, I shouldn't say move over. That's what I'm looking to expand into our new offering. And so, with that said, one of the things that I want to get out of the way right away is this community. I'm looking at with hope that you will make up the foundational community of everything else that we come out with. We've got to set the standard through improved volunteer groups, improved ambassador programs, and I know my World Ops and I have been talking, and we're upgrading what people can do, and reopening those programs with vigor and excitement as we ramp up for a new offering and a new opening of our new platform. But I'm going to extend an invitation to everybody who is VIP in our system on a date certain. And I'll let you know that date well in advance to be the beta testers. You'll be the first ones in our closed beta who will have access to the new software. We'll work closely with the community that comes in to ensure that it's doing what you want it to do. It lives up to the expectation for what you want, and then we'll slowly start to build with outside people. But we need that core community that is this community, the friendly, uplifting, positive, set the standard so that everybody new who comes in has a level of that they need to meet, where they're going to be, where we can build on top is, what I'm trying to say. It becomes the foundation. And based on that foundation, I believe that we can build a metaverse that isn't dangerous, that isn't scary to me, that people can spend time in because they will, one way or another, but not feel isolated, not feel depressed. If they make mistakes, they can be forgiven and not, have to double down on those mistakes and end up, becoming enraged, angry people. So that was the overview of what I wanted to talk about. I want to get to some questions and concerns. What we're really doing. What is this whole Aeon browser and otherverse.io? So for that, I'll say, we've spent years now working on what we call RLC Mate. That is designed to be a companion application to Red Light Center. And the idea was, we are in the classic software runs on our second generation software. That second generation software has fundamental limitations. It's a 32-bit application. It won't run on a Mac anymore. We will not be able to fix that ever. It's not going to run on VR headsets, and it's not going to run on tablets or phones. It's never going to be able to have avatars and all of these dynamic functions that can make things look spectacular, much better, that can give all kinds of additional feature sets. So we decided that the best way to do it, having tried and failed with Curio, but we learned a lot of lessons there. What really doesn't work. And sometimes those are the most important lessons, honestly. And with RLC Mate, we decided we're going to do something smaller, easier to manage, and it's going to be much more compelling because it's really, really based on Red Light Center. It is really based on what has worked, and what features can we now include in a companion application. The original design was you'd be in Red Light Center and you could right-click on somebody and invite them to RLC Mate, or invite them, to Red Light Center. You'd have the option. That was a fairly simple sort of virtual world. It was going to be relatively small, and it was designed so that it could then be scaled and incremented into this fully featured suite of, Otherverse. The plan was, and the plan still is, to make RLC Mate so compelling that the classic community and the classic version of the software, we bring all kinds of new people and old members back, because now we have the best of everything. There's so much charm and magnificence in this version of the software. That's never going away. There's always going to be great, compelling reasons why people will want to engage with the classic software. But there are also, we need to be modern, and we need to be able to attract people in. And attracting people in so that the community can continue to live and thrive and grow in classic requires that we have another companion software piece that works in conjunction, that is more modern and has a bunch of advanced features that we want to put in. So that was the original game plan. And then all of a sudden, I start hearing about cryptocurrency in metaverse space, and how some of these companies that have really horrible business models and awful graphics and awful offerings are selling cryptocurrencies and gaining valuations in the many billions of dollars. And there starts to become a lot of pressure for us to investigate moving into that space. And then, of course, Facebook changes its name to Meta, and my phone starts ringing, and I was saying, boy, oh boy, I feel like I'm a marathon runner. I've run many marathons. Not really, but I feel like this way. Run many marathons, but I've been forced to take a break for like 2 years and sit on the couch and just eat chips and ice cream. And all of a sudden I get a phone call. Okay, marathon tomorrow morning, get up. It just went from 0 to infinity. And so we've been expanding the team. We've been absolutely flat out, developing. So some of the stuff got kicked back a little bit. RLC Mate would have been open in a rudimentary way by now, but we're packing it with a lot more offerings and making it a lot more stable and a lot more extensible out the gate. In addition, we're developing on the Otherverse.io, and Otherverse.io is a whole other offering. Obviously, it's related. It's using the same software that we're building, and that's going to have all kinds of extensible features that aren't designed to be as used as a companion to Red Light Center. I believe that the first thing that we're going to launch out is still RLC Mate, and that's going to be really exciting. It's there's some fun features. The avatars have the ability to look completely different, be much more customizable. Obviously, you've seen the videos. I'm assuming by now everyone has seen the videos, and the videos are actually typically they're real gameplay. In the alpha phase 1 or the demo, we're rapidly approaching where we're going to release alpha phase 2. At alpha phase 2, I'm going to start to bring in some of the members of the community here, some of the ambassador teams, the volunteer teams, to just look around and see what we've got. But some of the stuff it really is spectacular. But I know it must be causing a lot of consternation because there are a lot of questions that just don't, that haven't been communicated. And so I got a few of those here that I want to address right away before I see if there's any questions from the audience. We have set up a new Discord in the last few months, and this is the Otherverse.io team. This is really a discussion about NFTs, these non-fungible tokens. NFTs are not a core feature of the new software platform, but they are something that we are integrating, and because they can be launched in advance of us launching the platform, it's been the focus of this new Discord team at Otherverse.io, and it seems probably to people who are just observing this that maybe it's a big focus of the new software. What NFTs are, non-fungible tokens, they're basically virtual goods that each one is unique. We are going to be supporting this in the Aeon generation of software. So you're going to be able to have NFTs, but those NFTs are all going to be what I call FNFTs, which is to say they're functional NFTs. They're designed to function in and on the Otherverse platform. A functional NFT will be something like a shirt that you wear and that goes on your avatar. It could be a glow stick. It could be a poof effect, or any of these type of, we've got very cool effects and such, but they'll live and function in our platform. Not all NFTs will work in our platform. So if you go out and buy an NFT, it will probably not work in our platform. You probably won't be able to bring it in or display it. Only NFTs that we deal with and onboard specifically are going to be approved. And the reason for this, there's many reasons for it, but some of the primary ones are the NFT space is ripe for theft and fraud. And of course, we know how much of a battle it is to keep theft out of a virtual world and to keep the rights of designers and the developers, the artists, the creatives. So what we're going to do is we're going to ensure that any NFT that is brought in as an FNFT is that the minters have applied to us, that we've authenticated that this is the original artwork. And in this way, we're going to add a lot of stability to the NFT market because you just won't be able to use it unless it's been authenticated as original. You know, I say like in the real world, you have the Mona Lisa and it's priceless. And you can have an exact replica of the Mona Lisa and it's worth whatever it costs you to print it. But in a digital, you know, NFT, they're exactly the same. I mean, you know, when I buy a picture that is only displaying on my phone, that's an NFT, I could stick that up on another blockchain and sell it, and somebody else can buy it, and they've got on their phone, it looks absolutely identical. And it's not like Leonardo da Vinci touched it and, you know, his brushstrokes are on it. It's exactly identical. So, you know, how do you protect theft in that environment? Well, you know, the theft protections is one of the things that we're going to be working on in this way. But what's important for you to understand is that NFTs, so you wishes, an NFT is just basically a digital good, a virtual good. They're going to be a small part. Aeon is going to operate the same way that Classic operates. There will be a marketplace. Designers are going to put up clothing. You'll be able to sell them the same. You'll be able to buy them the same way. And I expect that most of, or almost all of the props and clothing and textures will not be NFTs. But there will be a class of virtual goods that will be NFTs. They're going to integrate with the browser, the Aeon browser, and there'll be a meta wallet, which you don't really need to understand, that will interface with blockchain and will interface with our database. And you don't need to know how that works on the back end, but what you'll know is you could buy an NFT, you don't need to. You can sell NFTs, you can mint NFTs, but you don't need to. It's just going to be another feature. They'll be cool, you know. NFTs will probably have special properties. So, you know, you may have a certain poof effect that, you know, is only available if you have the NFT. NFTs are going to have some, you know, inventory demarcation. So, you know, the shirt, if it's an NFT, it might glow for a few seconds when you first look at it. So, you know, we're trying to add cool functions and features to differentiate, but these are really high-end products generally. They're, you know, each NFT is unique. And I'm not going to, you know, I want everybody to be able to come in and fully enjoy all of the experiences that we have to offer. And so it's important for me to assure everybody that just because the Discord team is currently focusing on FNFTs because we're doing our first one, you know, and it's a big deal in the crypto space to be offering FNFTs right now. But that's not an indication that NFTs are going to be a necessary component for you to be able to enjoy the software. They're really, you know, a neat sort of spice. But, you know, the main dish, but the main dish is still the same. I was asked if crypto is going to be necessary to use the Aeon software. In the same sort of way that rays are necessary, and it will be essentially as easy to use as rays. There's a few different things. They're mostly technical on the back end for how this works. Cash out mechanisms will be modified, but you'll still be able to use your, you know, credit card or be gifted or, you know, otherwise pay for your membership as necessary, you know. But I do believe this is going to serve as a really easy stepping stone because you are all already familiar with Raise, and crypto is really very almost indistinguishable from that system. So all of a sudden, when you have the Aeon browser, you'll have a crypto wallet. It will be embedded in the browser. You will be able to participate, but you won't need to. The only thing that you'll really need to do is have our token, and you'll be able to get that token about as easily as you can get Raise now. So I'm trying to keep this learning curve to an absolute minimum. And since you're all already familiar with it, it's going to be completely, almost completely transparent to you. But it probably raises the question of what does this mean for Raise? Raise will continue to exist in the Classic, and there will be a new cryptocurrency which will exist in the current generation, the Aeon generation. I'm going to work on a mechanism where you can cash Raise out instead of for dollars, to cash them out for the new currency. But it's not going to be a very seamless back and forth. That is going to be pretty challenging. So I believe that the way that is going to work, we're still working on details. You'll be able to move, but it's going to be more of a manual process, like a cash out. Yeah, okay. And yes, we're gonna make it so that crypto is as easy as possible for everybody, and to be as extensible as possible. So if you want to start investing or buying other cryptocurrencies, you should be able to do that through the Aeon browser. But again, that's not going to be a necessary component. You're not going to need to do that to be able to enjoy the game, the virtual world, the MMOR. And you'll continue to get compensated similarly to how you're able to earn Raise now in Classic. So it's a play to earn environment. So doing the same sort of things on the new system will earn you this cryptocurrency, which I don't have a name for yet, unfortunately. The names that we had may or may not work out, but I will announce that as soon as I've got one. Okay, so let's see. How we're going to be able to access Aeon? It will be another download. You are going to need to have that as an application, but we're working on making it a seamless sort of handshake with Otherverse. So you can click links in Otherverse, and it will open this new application, close out Otherverse. So if you want to go to a venue and it's linked to from Classic, and the venue is in Aeon, you'll just be able to click over. That's not entirely worked out, but the process should work that way initially, and eventually the objective is eventually to have them merge so that Classic will run interoperably on Aeon. So then it will just be one. It will be a fully upgrade, but I can't promise that. Okay, I think I have addressed the questions that I got in advance. The last one was again about the Otherverse.io Discord team, and of course that Discord team is focused on the FNFT drop right now, but we've got other stuff that's coming out on social media and everything that is going to fill out the rest of the rest of the whole picture. So the NFTs and the FNFTs, that's just what is being focused on while we ramp up. the development and the release cycle, and I'm really excited to get to alpha phase 2, hopefully, 6 to 8 weeks, and then closed beta, hopefully 6 to 8 weeks, though I can't promise that. Um, uh, oh man, uh, you know, I thought we had it nailed with other coin, UTHER coin, and I discovered that someone minted a coin that's exactly or close to that. I think it's a dead token, but we're investigating how to get that name and not cause confusion. I'd hate to have people buying the coin thinking that it's ours, and it turns out it's some dead coin. But I was so married to other coin. I just love it, and now I don't know. But maybe somebody will come up with the perfect suggestion. So I'll be glued to the chat here. Let's see. Losing stuff in RLC. Okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. So we're going to continue to operate Classic, and in fact, what I've really been driving for, and what maybe all of you can help me with, feel free, is that the community of users for Classic and Red Light Center should grow as a result of bringing in new users to Mate, particularly because Mate is not going to be nearly as fully featured when we launch as obviously the Classic software with a decade of work and development and patches. So, I'm really pushing, like, if you want to get in on the beta, on the closed beta, you got to be a member of Classic by a certain date and be VIP. And trying to put that carrot out there for everybody that's excited about the new product to come in, because the more we can acclimate people into the Classic software and the community, and they can learn the features, the better users they're going to be. And of course, the more it's going to expand Classic. And I have no intention of shutting Classic down. That rumor pops up all the time, but that's really, from ages ago when we were talking about Curio, there was this idea that we were going to move everything over and then shut Classic down. And I learned that is, that's, first of all, it's not realistic that we could move everything over, number one. But number two, Classic is Classic. It's got such a charm and a delight to it that there's no reason it ever needs to go away, and it will never go away. So you're never going to lose your stuff. And in fact, I expect that the community is going to grow. Certainly that's my intention. So we'll try to supercharge people coming in to Classic and using both versions of the software. How do we work with the sale of independent artists on the Otherverse.io platform? So ultimately, the Aeon platform is going to enable anybody to come in and do all of the things that you can currently do in Classic in terms of deco, design, virtual goods, virtual services. We're going to add in animations, an animation marketplace, and all kinds of other neat, expansive features. You will also be able to mint NFTs. And so you'll be able to open your own metaverse if you want, that will exist on the platform. We call it Otherverse Sovereign, and all of this is in the white paper that's on Otherverse.io. So you'll be able to set a lot of rules, like in our main region, in our plaza. I'm not letting people fly. But if you want people to be able to fly, in your metaverse, you could, set that as a rule. If you want avatars to look different, have a different wardrobe requirement. So, if it's a university and you don't want people wearing lingerie, you'd be able to create those definitions as an Otherverse sovereign. So we're really trying to create this extensible, everything that creatives could want. We're going to give tools, but of course, those tools are quite a ways away yet. So for now, there's NFT stuff, and participating in our offerings, I guess. user content will be uploadable at some point. Yes, for sure. And if so, when? I would expect that it's going to come shortly after closed beta. It's a pretty important tool. I know that Tony's been offering classes on art. So you know, how to make these things, and obviously, if you're going to be making them, they got to go up into a marketplace. So you know, as soon as we can get those tools built, we absolutely will. Business owners be able to purchase doors in Mate on a street like they're able to. Yes, but is it on a first come first served basis? That is yet to be determined. Mate is going to look very familiar at the end of the day. There'll be a transport center, there'll be a street, there will be there'll be doors that will be available for rent, and there's going to be a property catalog, clubs. So yes, you know, we're absolutely looking to replicate what has worked so well in Classic, and make those offerings. I can't guarantee it's first come first serve, or if it's a bidding system, or you know, if it's going to be based on other parameters. Paying for VIP, one fee for both is the intention. You know, I think that you know, even though prices for everything else have been rising, I think that you know, one charge should give people access to everything that we're offering. So that may be a little bit tricky to implement in billing, but you know, that's the plan, and I'm going to make sure that that happens. Questions about whether Raise will carry over. So you know, I touched on this a little bit. I am going to try to implement a system where you can move Raise as a manual process. It would be the same as if you're cashing them out to currency. So you request that they be cashed out. You know, fill out the appropriate paperwork forms, gets reviewed. If it's approved, they cash over into the token. But it's not a seamless, it's not easy, because they're really dealing with two different types of, you know, apples and oranges with cryptocurrency and world currency. So not totally easy to do, but at a bare minimum, as a manual system, we will get something happening there. So hopefully, you know, I've been able to paint a picture and put your minds at ease a little bit, that everything here is staying and hopefully growing and improving. And we're going to be providing additional offers and, you know, opportunities, and you know, really the way that I am trying to look at it is really, when I say a companion app, that's really the whole thing. So for you as a user, you know, if I could wave a magic wand, the way that I would have it work is Otherverse Classic would exist seamlessly, as you know, and as easily as walking through a door. You'd walk through a door or a portal, and you'd arrive in the new Aeon version, and you know, you could easily move back and forth, and everything is interoperable. In the real world, that's not quite going to be the way that it works, but you know, we're going to work to make it as seamless that way as possible, and it's very exciting. I mean, we're weeks away from having something that we can really show off, not just in video, or not just stuff that I can walk around and see, but that, you know, other people can come in, not just, you know, specific tours that I'm giving in software, but, you know, more broadly, and then open up closed beta to the community and really see what you guys think about the work that we've been doing, and then, you know, blow the lid off this thing, and really, you know, start expanding all the opportunities for everybody, for, you know, new people, volunteer groups, businesses, dance groups. I mean, there's so much work that is going into this thing under the hood to make it as fun and engaging, and you know, so many little tiny things that happen and that work in the classic software that is important that we replicate out into this current version. And I think you guys are going to love it. I hope you guys are going to love it. But we will continue to work at it until everything is absolutely delightful. So, boy, um, thanks everybody for all of your support over all of these years, and looking forward to a little bit more over these exciting next few months and into the end of the year. And I hope I can make opportunity for all of you, not just for fun, but lucrative opportunities as well to come in and really leverage what you've learned and what you've done and what you've enjoyed, and to bring it over and do it again. Because to me, it's all about community. It is literally all about community. So, that's where we have an advantage that nobody else can ever touch. And that advantage is all of you, honestly. So thank you, everybody. And enjoy the rest of the convention. I'm going to avatar mode.